Monitoring environmental sensors is one of the most common things that you'll do with your remote monitoring system. I have here a TempDefender medium-sized RTU, and I'll show you how it can be used to set up your analog sensors, and then how you can look at logs, actually download logs as a CSV, and also graph information here in the web interface. So to start with, let's go to Sensors, and we'll set up a sensor or two. You can see I've already got a couple. There's actually some sensors I've plugged in but have yet to configure, but I've already set up a temperature and a humidity, and we're going to look at the logs there and graph those. So just for reference, you can see my temperature sensor. Here's all the detail. Very important here for the logging and the graphing. I have a record frequency of 5 minutes. That means that every 5 minutes, the RTU is going to take note of what the current temperature value is and record it into the log. I'm also doing the same thing for humidity. And there's a built-in chassis temperature in this particular TempDefender. So now that we have our sensors, and I've had this running for over a week to build up some history, let's go take a look at that history. You can head on over to System, and then Analog and Sensor History. You can get help if you like, but it's pretty straightforward. The CSV is right here, and if I am to click that, my web browser will give me the option to just save it. And I've actually got that downloaded, and you can see this is what a CSV would look like. It's all your data nerds will know exactly what to do with this. You've got timestamps, the sensor name, and then what the value was. And also, not just the value, but the average during the period, the minimum and the maximum. So if you get a wildly vacillating temperature within a certain 5-minute window, you can still see the max and min, even if the average wasn't anything notable. So that's your CSV, and one critical point here is you can actually script the retrieval of that CSV. So if you have database people who want to be extracting from many different TempDefenders out in your network, it's pretty straightforward. You can pull up the user manual, and you can see your script merely has to access a URL like this one. This is the IP of the TempDefender, history.csv, and then you pass in a few parameters, which are explained in this table. Basically, what's the date range that I want, what kind of information do I want it to come with, and then that will come out in the CSV. So the last thing I want to show you is how you can actually graph the data inside the web interface. Let's go over to Monitor, and then Graph. The name makes quite a bit of sense. And now I'll select a range. Sensor 2 is my temperature sensor, so that's the one I want to graph. And I'll take an hourly stat. You don't want to have too many data points, so it's hard to make sense of. And I'll do the average, so it'll be the average value within each hour. And let's run it for a week, Saturday to Saturday. Takes about 10 seconds, and it will vary depending on the amount of data that you're retrieving. And here we go. We can see that this temperature has been declining overall. You see a kind of a daily cycle, which makes sense. It would get warmer at the middle of the day. But it's been declining, so that could mean a variety of things. Could be a seasonal change, although it would have to be pretty quick one to happen in the course of the week. It's possible that somebody is changing our HVAC settings, and we want to look into that. You always want to look at the scale, as with any graph. So this is a range between about 73 degrees and 84 degrees. So this could be a meaningful trend, and a graph lets you see very quickly visually what's going on with your sensor data. To see more about the TempDefender RTU or monitoring environmental sensors like I did here, give DPS a quick call at 1-800-693-0351.